if you can think of some totally crazy, wacky thing, there's a bird that probably does it.
Hi, I'm Sierra. This is Angela Brierly. She's the field project manager for the Golden Crown Sparrow project out of the Lyon lab of University Santa Cruz. So I wanted to ask her a few questions about how she came to this position in ornithology and where she wants to take her career in the future. So first I was going to ask you, how did you become interested in biology, or more specifically ornithology?
Thank you, Sierra. That's actually a great question and the perfect one to start with, I think. I'm going to start with biology because I didn't realize how much I loved birds until very recently, actually.
Cool.
Biology, and specifically nature, what's happening outside, has, since I was little, like my earliest memories are when I was little and I don't know, finding the salamander in the pond behind my parents' friend's house when we visited, or we had chickens and I remember being fascinated with the chickens and the chicks. And I had older brothers who loved to catch these huge grasshoppers when we were little.
Wow.
And so I did too. And I just always liked being outside. So that's what got me interested initially. Birds, birds are the best. Birds, I got interested in ornithology kind of as a mix. I did an internship, and the internship involved being a banding assistant in all places, the Amazon.
Nice.
So it was kind of this really exotic, amazing first experience hands-on with birds. I liked seeing them. Birds are great because you can see them in cities, you can see them in the country, wherever. But I learned how to be a banding assistant and had my banding training and learned about birds from an ornithologist for the first time. And that almost sealed the deal for me. It was when I took ornithology at UC Santa Cruz that completely sealed the deal. And I was like, yep, this is the thing for me.
That's super cool. Did you band a specific species in the Amazon or anything like in general?
It was a survey, kind of a biodiversity survey in a way. It was actually a really cool study. I was helping a graduate student by the name of Micah Scholler as he was working on his doctorate. And he was comparing what birds were found at what elevation from a data set taken over more than 10 years ago compared to where we saw those same birds at which elevations now. So we caught whatever we caught. And so it was a wide array of birds. And he compared the stuff, the birds we caught and where they were caught in elevation against the old study to find that certain species, in order to deal with climate change, were changing their range. So they used to only live lower, they were going higher as the temperature slightly raised. And
Wow.
so it's considered an elevational range shift of these bird species. And that was my intro. All sorts of birds. I should have put one of those Amazon birds as my background, but
Did you take that picture of the
I
flicker?
took this picture of the northern flicker here at the UC Santa Cruz Arboretum just yesterday.
Nice. Wow. I think I saw a flicker there. I think I keep hearing them though.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. They're around.
Besides the Amazon project, what other studies have you worked on? And maybe you want to elaborate on the Golden Crown Sparrow project.
Okay. Well, the studies I've worked on mainly have consisted of the one in the Amazon, big projects, and the UC Santa Cruz Golden Crown Sparrow project, which I'm rather fond of. I started out with this project, much like you have, Sierra, as an intern. And I interned for the project for 2 years. And then when I graduated, the project was looking for someone to manage the on the ground, in the field aspect of the study. So someone to work with the interns and to do banding and to set up and monitor any behavioral experiments and stuff. And so I applied for the job, and I had a lot of experience with this bird system, and I got it. So it's been really great.
Awesome. What is like a normal day of work look like for you?
Well, I'm going to say there's two kinds of days. There's field days, and then there's data days. Though field days also include a little bit of data. I always have to tell everybody there's always data because we are gathering data. We're gathering information. But in general, my days start before dawn. I leave the house when just before sunrise, and I arrive at the Arboretum, which is always lovely. Rain, shine, doesn't matter the weather. And I set up the experiments that part of the project is doing with the Shizuka Lab at the University of Nebraska. And Dai Shizuka's graduate student, Annie Madsen. So Annie Madsen is doing her PhD study looking at learning and social learning in sparrows. So in the mornings, which you've helped me set up, we set up a puzzle, a special bird feeder puzzle, and cameras. And we film all day, every day, what the sparrows do at that puzzle and who's learned how to open the puzzle and get seed and who hasn't. So that's a big component. But in the middle of the day, before I set up the cameras and take them down, is the fun part. It does involve lots of bird watching, which is a nice perk of doing a job like this. I work either a banding day. Banding days involve setting out traps, often working with the interns, where interns learn how to monitor data and organize a bird banding station, or working to train them how to take birds out of traps safely, which is fun because it's fun to share the excitement and joy of birds with people who enjoy learning about birds too. And then every evening involves a little bit of data. So the data that we've gathered from the day, whether it was from banding or bird watching where the sparrows are, or the videos we filmed, or we do record audio as well of bird song at the Arboretum. I enter that data, upload that data, or download the data, depending on what type of data it is. So that's done every day. Always a little bit of email and fun meetings. I like to tell people about the meetings because who says meetings are fun? When you're an ornithologist, sometimes the meetings are really fun. I meet with the organizers, either Dr. Bruce Lyon, or Dr. Dai Suzuka and his graduate students, to discuss how the research is going, how the project is going, and we discuss ideas and things that we've seen, and basically brainstorm about research and science with other bird lovers. And so those aren't bad meetings. So that's in general. And then there are the days where I'm just editing data, just to make sure that data that I've entered is done correctly, so that when the data is analyzed, I know that it's true and ready to go. Everybody's favorite thing, editing data.
So obviously your favorite part is the birding and educating interns. So do you have a favorite bird?
That's actually, yes, I do. And it also changes. I should say I have a favorite bird, and my second favorite bird, which is always a close runner-up, is always changing. My favorite bird is actually the acorn woodpecker.
Cool.
Acorn woodpeckers, related to this guy behind me, but different. Acorn woodpeckers, as their name suggests, love to eat acorns, especially in the oak woodlands here in California. And I like them because of their behavior and the natural history of the bird. So what really made me first love them and read all about them was finding out that sister birds, sister acorn woodpeckers, often share nests. So they share a nest. So it's sisters that grew up together and are like, you're my best sister. And they grew up and they raised their chicks together. And I just thought that was really cool and had never heard about that in birds before. And they've been my favorite since.
Wow. And like they're the ones that protect larders of acorns, right?
They do. Yeah, those larders of acorns can be passed down generation to generation as very
Nice.
valuable real estate in the acorn woodpecker world.
Very cool. Do you want to eventually study acorn woodpeckers?
I I think about it. I would love to study acorn woodpeckers and their social behavior, bird behavior, and bird social interactions are really interesting to me.
Is there one specific topic that you really want to study? I heard you were talking about corvids and how they dropped nuts at traffic lights.
Oh yeah, that actually is something that I have thought about since my freshman year. Actually,
Wow.
I my freshman year, yeah, for a while, but really just the past couple of years. For a class assignment, we had to do a research proposal, and it was my first research proposal I had to put together. And I was like, I'm going to design a study to figure out if crows, common American crow, really do drop walnuts on the cement, hoping that cars will crack the walnuts for them. So this is a assumption that people just assume that's what crows are doing. And I saw some research that said, yes, that's what they're doing. And I saw some research that was like, well, maybe not. I read both papers that I saw and I wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced. I was like, there was flaws. Here's a better way we could find that out. And designed probably an overly complicated experiment, but it was my first experiment I designed to test if crows really are trying to drop acorns, so that acorns, walnuts, gonna mix the two up all day now, in front of cars. And I didn't get to actually do the experiment or the study, but I do think it would be an interesting one for someone to do.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Like what class lets you design research proposals like that?
Good question. Um, well, for electives, I ended up taking classes and some required courses in my undergraduate. I tried to have them be classes that would allow me to design research because I'm really into that, and learn more about things that have to do with birds, pertain to birds. So the classes that allowed me to do all of those were behavioral ecology, so studying animal behavior, ornithology, and ecology were the main ones that I got to design experiments and learn more about birds.
Awesome. What did you major in to study ornithology?
I majored in, since I couldn't find too many universities that had ornithology as a major. So I studied, my major was ecology and evolutionary biology. So it was learning the ecology, so the interacting of all the species, as well as evolution, kind of a combined department that UC Santa Cruz had, which I've found has prepared me really well. So I know more than just about bird and bird biology. I also understand where birds fit in the entire ecosystem, and I think that was really beneficial.
Awesome. Um, why do you study birds? Why do you think studying birds matters?
Whew, that's a big question. Why do I study them? You know what? Because the variation. So there are so many, it's not just that there's so many different types of birds that look so many different ways. like that vast biodiversity. That is exciting and really neat, but birds do about everything. They swim, they dive, they mate for life, or they lay their eggs parasitically in someone else's nest and let some other bird raise their babies. I mean, birds do if you can think of some totally crazy, wacky thing, there's a bird that probably does it. And
Walks on the bottom of water, on the
exactly.
bottom of the river.
Yeah, I mean, birds, you can find a bird that does about any crazy thing you can imagine almost. And I don't think I would ever get bored of birds. So that's why I study birds, why I think it's important. I think birds are an important bioindicator. So a bioindicator being an animal that shows you when it indicates when something's going wrong in the biome, in the biosphere. Migratory birds are a great example. So if there's habitat loss in one area and it happens to take away either breeding grounds or nesting grounds or a important migratory stop, every other country, land, and location along the migratory route is also affected by that. And birds are a great kind of unifier that kind of link the world together to show us we are interconnected in so many ways.
That's awesome. My final question is, do you have any advice for people aspiring to study ornithology?
Yes, I do. Watch birds. For real, like watch birds when you can. Watch birds. And when you're watching birds, think about what it is about bird watching that you like. I think that's really important, and it's different for everybody. And you don't always know right away, and sometimes it might change what you like more as time goes on, but it will help you decide what part of ornithology you want to study the most. I think that's one big thing. The other is in school, if you have the option to take science or biology electives, do it. You'll learn more. It's just super great. It'll give you a head start on everything. And I would say either join or form bird watching groups if you can, because bird watching is great where you can do it alone and it's really nice to do it solitary, but it's also one of those things where you do need to work as a team often, whether it's a banding station or working together on a research paper. And it's kind of nice to know people that like to go birding too and learn about new places. So either start a birding club for people your age in your area, or if you don't know anybody who does, there are always community-based birding groups in every city, and often through like a recreation center or something. And they love having young people be into birds. They love it. And it's a great way to meet people that also like birds, and you never know. It could be the person that you meet could be the person that says, hey, I'm looking for someone to run my research project for me. I know them. They're a good person. We birded together in the birding group. You never know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sierra. It was wonderful to chat and with a fellow bird lover. What's your favorite bird?
My favorite bird, I would say either ravens or chickens. Ravens because they just seem so majestic, and also they're really smart. And chickens because I'm biased because I have chickens and they're just super cute. And I think there's a lot more than meets the eye about them. They have complex hierarchical groups, and they're just really fascinating birds.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thanks, Sierra.
Thank you. Bye.